someone send me Buzz Rossfield's number. Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of Day Sports. My name is Chris. We're going to be getting through plenty of rugby league stuff today. There's a bit of news about Zac Lomax, a little bit of a recap of NRL Vegas, as well as the rest of round one and my predictions for that. It feels nice. The proper team lists have come out today on Tuesday. It feels like it has been too long, but knowing that we've got rugby league back for the next 27 plus weeks is a thing of beauty, honestly. So very, very stoked for that. Going to be getting into the predictions a little bit later on, so if you want to skip forward to that, go for gold. It's not going to be the most analytical thing of all time. It's just going to be who I think is going to be doing what. So if you get around it, you get around it. If not, you'll be right. Yeah, the massive news that came out today is all about Zac Lomax and the settlement. Well, essentially they've been able to settle, their situation between the Eels and Storm. So pretty much at this stage, we're not going to be seeing Zac Lomax potentially for a very long time, all the way up until 2028, unless the Eels are able to give him consent to leave, is pretty much the gist of it. There was like mixed reports. I think it was Monday, so yesterday, coming out being like, yeah, they might have come to an agreement and this and that. And I think a lot of people were thinking it was going to be leaning a lot towards Zac Lomax playing for Storm. I was fingers crossed that he was going to be playing this Thursday against the Eels, because that would honestly just be like funniest thing ever if they managed to somehow pull that off. For round one, it hasn't gone the way that I thought it would. Storm are in a bit of a weird place. They're having to pay like hundreds of thousands of legal fees and all sorts of stuff. So they've had their pants pulled down a little bit here by the Eels. But yeah, I think it's up until like October something or other 2027. So they've actually cut the time down by a year. So I suppose that's good for Zac. But the Eels have come out. They've put out an official statement. Don't quote me exactly on it, but it's pretty much like, we weren't able to come to an agreement, weren't able to, find benefit financially for our club, so on and so forth, all that sort of jazz. So that doesn't close the door forever. I kind of feel glad for Zac that, that period of time's over. I can't imagine the fucking head noise, being talked about, which again, I'm sitting here fucking talking about it, but I didn't want to talk about it until it was closed off, which it is now. But yeah, seems like this situation's kind of fizzled out, which is probably the best for everybody. Yeah, the Storm, they have had a big swing and a miss for the last little bit. Like, that's a couple players now that they're starting to really to miss out and lose out on. They're losing more players than they're able to sign pretty much at this point. Like, no Big Tino, no Cooper Bye, no Zac Lomax, and you got half their team going off to the Bears. It's like, that is not looking good, Storm. But it seems like a lot of Storm fans weren't overly keen to get Lomax in there. As this whole situation's played out more and more, like, I kind of just have felt sorry for Zac Lomax. Like, he's without a job. He's unable to go to another club, or at least it's unlikely that he's going to be able to go to another club for a little bit. And then there's the whole media the whole media noise, head fuckery sort of stuff that goes along with it. And, when you do look at it, I think most people, if somebody came along and said, yeah, we can, you can go to another job basically doing the same thing and you're getting double, if not more, of your salary, most people aren't going to be turning that down. I know I'd probably take it. He's obviously been ill-advised here, and that was the whole story the whole time with PVL being like, look, he's kind of been sold a bit of snake oil here. So, yeah, it is a little bit unfortunate. I'm sure other opportunities will come up. I reckon another club's going to come out of the woodworks pretty quickly, and we could potentially see him back in the NRL, I reckon, before 2028, if he doesn't go sign for, Japanese rugby, Australian rugby, like whatever it might be. But it would be the funniest thing of all time if, like, next week the Roosters come out and sign him. Like, yeah, Teddy, sorry, bruh. We're going to ship you off to the Eels, and Zac Lomax is going to be our ongoing fullback. But I do really feel like there are a few teams as well, like, that have a bit of cha-ching laying around, whether or not they want a Zac Lomax at their club. Like, if you're thinking of clubs with a bit of coin at the moment, not that we've really got a place for him, but obviously Brisbane Broncos. I'm not too sure if the Dolphins would have a little bit laying around. The Perth Bears, they haven't exactly signed any ridiculous superstars. They've probably got a bit of cheddar laying around. So there's a few clubs there that could come out of the woodworks. You never know with the Sydney Roosters. They seem to always have money regardless. And they have lost, I suppose, a lot of outside backs over the last couple of years for whatever reason. You got Mark Nwangi Tuase moving on. Wouldn't surprise me if they're a club that throws their hat in the ring. They put their hand up and said, yeah, look, we'll have a go. Just seems a very Roosters thing to do. So, yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. And it's not like the Storm didn't have a good crack at this. Apparently, they were looking at taking over one of the players' contracts, essentially, like, paying that out. A little bit of transfer money for Lomax. I've seen different reports about it where it's like a couple hundred here and there or whatever, but could be totaling anywhere up around like 750k or whatever, which is not nothing at all. And the Eels are gone, yeah, nah, we're not going to do that. So Storm's definitely given it a red hot crack, but they've decided against it. So yeah, you get that. Now, quick little review, recap, however you want to put it for Vegas. I just wanted to touch on those two games. Didn't watch the Super League. All I know is Hull KL got absolutely fisted, which I love to see after them beating the Brisbane Broncos in the World Club Challenge. A little bit of spite, bit petty from me, but look, it is what it is. Now, again, didn't watch it, but I definitely saw all the highlights. Super Sivo out there just scoring tries left, right, and centre for fun. Like, that man was out, I think, for the better part of a year with an ACL injury. So to be able to just turn it up big time on the big stage in Vegas is just unreal for him. Mike Sivo, like, congratulations, sir. Yeah, Super Sivo, I've seen enough. I want to see him back in the NRL already. He scored 4 tries the other day like it was nothing, just running over the top of people for fun. There was an absolute filthy part where they did a little dropout. He flies through, catches it on the full and just takes off like he's been shot out of a cannon. Like, he was playing unreal, like an absolute monster there in the Super League. So on to the 2 NRL games. Obviously the Knights gave the Cowboys a little bit of a touch up. I'm not going to spend too much time on these, just kind of run over my thoughts and we'll kind of just move on to the predictions and go from there. But yeah, it's looking rough already. I'm willing to say spoon for the Cowboys already. It already backs up my prediction. I'm like, yeah, I've seen enough. Give it to them. You've got the Wooden Spooners of 2025 coming out and kind of running circles around you a little bit. I must say, both of these teams, they leaked a lot of points. You're looking at like, 20-odd points, nearly 30-odd points each. Like, yes, they put them on, but you're like, oh, these are 2 probably down the bottom end sort of teams defensively. And it's like, what are your Melbourne Storm, your Brisbane Broncos, your Penrith Panthers, teams like that, what are they going to do to them? But I think the Knights, they actually impressed me a lot more than what I was anticipating. I tipped the Cowboys, so, kind of shot myself in the foot on that one. Should have gone with the Knights, new coach, never lets you down. But I think they've basically taken a little bit of a feather out of the Broncos book and just gone with we're hot, we're going to play some fuck it footy, and that's basically what they did. I really liked the way that Fletcher Sharp was playing. Everyone knows Mullets just goes faster, and considering the injuries he had towards, last year, he came back absolutely humming. Really exciting player, and it was a really good watch actually seeing what the Knights were doing. Like, if you do look at them on paper, you're like, yes, this is a fun time. But I thought Kalen Ponga was outstanding. Fletcher Sharp obviously went off injured, which is so unlucky. Like, the dude had like a catastrophic injury towards the end of last season, or, put him out for a long time last season. I think it's PCL. I think the NRL physio is saying like 2-3 weeks. So not too bad, but, he's got a few weeks now to rest up at least. So I'm sure he's going to be back sooner rather than later. But he was really great. Dilly Bags kind of did his thing. Greg Marju, great meter carriage. Like, the dude was busting tackles and running over people, scoring tries, like, awesome stuff. Pretty sure he scored anyway. Kalen Ponga was outstanding, and that's where I think they've gone straight up Brisbane Broncos hot boy style, where it's like throw the ball to Kalen Ponga where he wants it, when he wants it, and just kind of let him run the shop. Like a similar way to, I think, the way Reece Walsh deals with things. I think the halves almost just kind of did their own thing and took a back seat to whatever Kalen Ponga wanted to do. So if he's able to play anything like this, throughout the season, I think they're going to be winning a lot more games than last year. I don't know if they're going to be world beaters, but they got some exciting stuff. It's good to see. And then for the Cowboys, it was hard to tell if it was like they're just clunky, and it's hard to judge. I will judge you heavily being the first game of the season. You're getting the spoon, but it's hard to tell if it was a halves thing, or obviously Drinky was out for a little bit with his bloody rib cartilage injury. I can't imagine how that would feel, but they just got within the 30, 20, whatever it might have been, and just kind of threw the ball around and couldn't really do much. They didn't really have much doing at all. And I'm not too sure if that was the field's a little bit like not as wide type of thing. They were just running out of space, and they were getting out to the centers, and then just they're on the sideline already. So yeah, I'm not too sure. They just look flat. They don't look 100% there. Yeah, a few players kind of in and out, and they haven't figured it all out. But if I was Todd Payton, I'd be, oh no, I can't really honestly think of too many other coaches that would have the pressure that he does. So that's one loss already. I think it's the Eels that they play away next as well, which is, I feel like that's going to be a really tough matchup. But yeah, no, Cows get the spoon. And then in the second game, the Doggies, they get it done over the Dragons in the death of it. Like, literally, clock is about to completely run out, and Critter goes, yeah, bruh, chuck us the ball, let me slot this damn thing. The amount of field goal attempts that happened throughout that game was, like, ridiculous. I'm like, if we, like, as in the Broncos, come up, or even any other team come up against these two teams throughout the rest of the season, they should be like, nothing to even worry about. Like, they took 500 shots and only just managed to get it done. Yeah, it was definitely a game with a bit of controversy behind it. You know, there's a couple of different calls that went this way, that way. There's all the stuff with Critter. To be fair, he did go out there and try to basically explode Setutu's head. Bit of a weird one, but, you know, it is what it is. Did he make contact with the head? Yeah, he did. Look, was Setutu basically dropping to the floor? Yeah, he was. And it's just one of those things. Like, it's weird. Yes, in the game before, there was one that was arguably not as bad that, you know, saw someone going to the bin and he's getting suspended. It's just one of those things. It's the mysteries of rugby league. Shane Flanagan was not too happy about it at all, but it's like, you know, fuck. Sometimes it goes your way, other times it doesn't. This time it didn't. Yes, it cost you 2 points. Probably could have won the game, but at the same time, it's not like you didn't have 5,000 shots at field goal either. And I don't know why. For some reason, it just like... It felt nice. Felt nice seeing the Dragons and the Dragons fans' hearts just get shattered in the last second of the game. Something about that. Maybe I just like the Doggies more, but yeah, there was a bit to it. Now we get into the business end of the podcast, which is the predictions. Thursday night, we've got an absolute howler to start things off in the Melbourne Storm down at Amy Park taking on the Eels. Obviously, Storm are going to be favourites in this one. They haven't been beaten in round one for bloody 5,000 years at this point. I think it was, I was listening to the bloke in the bar. I think they were saying since like 2003 or 4 by the Bulldogs. Like, whatever it is, ridiculous record that Craig Bellamy has. I don't know why though. Something, maybe it's all the media stuff going on between these two teams. You know, everything involved with Lomax. Maybe it's all the players that Storm have lost. But I'm like, something's talking to me, and maybe it's just the idea of that streak being broken, a little bit like the Undertakers, where you're just like, could it happen? Is this the WrestleMania? Is this the first round that it is actually going to happen? I'm still going to go with the Storm in this one. I'm going to go with them 1-12. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people might expect. Storm went out there and absolutely fisted the Eels last season in the first round. I want a bit of cha-ching off that as well. So I'll be hoping to do the same thing. But I don't know. Yeah, there's a few question marks over the Storm. You've got a lot of big players out, or players that have left, whether it's in their forward rotation, their second rowers, you know, fullback with Saw Farlonga going in there. You're just like, is he defensively? He's definitely not Paps. He's got a huge attacking side. But yeah, whether or not that's going to play out. And then Mitchy Moses in there, Jonah Peasant and Iongi. I think Iongi's playing. I'm pretty sure, you know, he didn't get done for allegedly a little bit of green action. But yeah, I think the Eels are going to well and truly fire up for this. And, you know, I was really holding out for the whole Zac Lomax could be playing in round one just because it would have been the funniest thing of all time. Obviously, that hasn't ended up happening, but I feel like, I feel like this could go one or two ways. You're either going to see the 50-point curse put on the Eels straight away, similar to like it nearly did or was last season. I forgot the exact score. It might have been really close. Or you might see absolute upset of the last 20-odd years in the first round and Eels go on and get the damn thing done. Mitchy Moses is just in Dally M form, kicks them all around the park and goes insane. As for try scorers, I'm liking Nick Meaney to get over in this one. First game of the Friday night, there's the Waz playing the Roosters over there in New Zealand. I feel like I should be going with the Roosters in this one. They're definitely favourites in this one, but I like the idea of an underdog, particularly over the ditch over there in New Zealand. Like, Warriors just seem to have their way with it. No doubt it's going to be packed out. I'm a little bit sceptical considering they're missing a few halves. New halves combo for the Roosters work and the different, you know, things, plug and play, you know, so on and so forth. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, Warriors ambush is definitely what I'd be hoping for. So yeah, I'm going to go with them 1-12. Without Metcalf, without Thierry Martin, I am a little bit... I'm not too sure, but the Warriors definitely have a habit of pulling the wool over these type of teams. And I believe he's coming off the bench, but I'm going to go with Leka Halasima to get over. Now, this is the big ticket item of this round, and that is the Brisbane Broncos taking on the Penrith Panthers Friday night. I'm obviously super stoked for this one. I'm going to be back on my boys all day of the week. I'm going to be going 1-12. Penrith do scare me a little bit, not going to lie. I feel like they've had a really, media-wise quite off-season, a lot of time, actual bloody holidays after getting knocked out by us last year in the finals. So much media around the Broncos at the moment, around Madge, around Payne Haas, around Renner. Reece like literally sneezes and they're going to have a camera and an article about him. So I feel like there's a lot of hype around this game. Yeah, definitely a bit of a grudge match for both of these teams. Like, we got history from the grand final, from the prelims or semis, or however you want to put it, from last year. I'd really honestly like to see Nathan Cleary versus Ezra Mam round 2. You know, a little bit of punch on with the boys, a bit competitive. So be interesting to see how that goes. The Broncos have rolled out basically, full team. It's so exciting as well now. Like, you can see every single team list, you know, now that they've got those options of a few extra players there on the bench. They got backs loaded up everywhere. So it's like, if someone goes down, you know, there's no longer really, there shouldn't really be that thing where they just get blown out of the water anymore. Yeah, I think the Broncos have an opportunity to put a massive statement out there. Like, losing the World Club Challenge, I think they are going to be disappointed with that. How seriously they took it's going to be another thing. But in front of a sold-out Suncorp Stadium home crowd, coming off the premiership of last year, like, they've got an opportunity to come out there and fucking smack the Penrith Panthers, and it would be amazing to see. Like, no doubt it's going to be a super tough game, but I feel like the Broncos, if Renault kind of takes that back seat a little bit, the way the Broncos played, you know, towards the end of last year on that run into the finals, and Reece Walsh is obviously on as one thing, but kind of takes control of that game, similar to the way Ponga did the other day, grab it by the scruff of the neck. Like, I feel like Penrith are going to have a real rough time trying to stop him. And a man that I reckon is just going to run over everybody, and I'm going to go with my anytime try scorer, is going to be Gemmet Shibasaki. Sharkies versus the Titans. I'm going to go with the Titans 1-12 on this one. I know I probably shouldn't be. There's a lot of question marks there, but I've got a good feeling about them. I've been saying it the last couple seasons. It hasn't quite come off, but I feel like Tino and Hene are just going to have stuff humming a whole different way this season. I just like the new look about them. They just seem to have something over them. They just seem to have a little bit of something about them. They knocked off the Storm in the preseason trials. I know that doesn't necessarily mean as much, but I feel like they've got a good energy around it. New coaching staff, new this, new that, a new outlook. Tino's going to be there forever. The mayor of the GC. Like, I rate all that. It is a massive out, though, not having Jaden Campbell there. Lockie Idius, bro, and his dance moves are going to be coming into the 7 position, but I feel like that's going to be okay. They've got a lot of firepower all across the park. Sharkies, like, again, I've got them up there in my top 8, probably even potentially in the top 4, but whether or not they're going to be humming straight away is going to be another thing. And I just like a nice little underdog. I'm almost tempted to go with Big Tino. I think I am going to go with Big Tino to score anytime. Manly Seagulls versus the Canberra Raiders. This one I feel like is a little bit of a flip of a coin. Both of them are testing out new halves combinations, a few changes here and there. Canberra Raiders coming off such a disappointing season end after getting minor prems and then not going on to do the damn thing, going out in straight sets. Like, I feel like they're going to have a lot to prove. They got a young, hungry team to get around there. It'll be interesting to see how Manly goes. Like, it is at home, so I am almost tempted to lean that way, but I'm going to go with Canberra 1-12 in this one. Like, I just feel like they've got so much to prove. Ricky's probably going to have fucking posters written everywhere. Tommy Turbo is going to have snipers on him. He could have a fucking hammy go at any stage. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Raiders. As for try scorers, I'm going to go with Xavier Savage. Obviously, he was out for a little bit towards the end of last season, so he'll be keen to get back in the mix, and Blake loves scoring some tries. Last but certainly not least, we've got the Dolphins versus the South Sydney Rabbitohs. I'm going to go with the Dolphins. I like that they're playing at home. I feel like their team is starting to really come back together as well. Huge inclusions there in the front row, though. You got Tommy Flegler in the starting side, so he must really be doing well with that shoulder. You absolutely love to see it. And it seems like actually in a similar boat, you got Jai Arrow with this unknown kind of shoulder injury, potentially nerve damage stuff. So it'd be pretty cooked if we've got another player that's potentially missing an unknown amount of time because of a similar injury. So, you know, if it is, I don't know all the details. I haven't done the full read up about it, but if it is anything like that, hopefully they might be able to take a bit of the info, that happened with Flegler and apply that. But I suppose we'll see. But I love that the back line is fast for the Dolphins. Like, it's ridiculous. Sil and Cobbo there on the wing as well. Herbie Farmworth, the hammer there at the back. There was a bit of an injury cloud, I think, over Isaiah Katoa, but he's been named as well. I feel like I might have lent the other way if he hadn't been playing, but he is. Nick Ream is good. Like, it is just ridiculous. The bench depth even is nice. Like, I'm really liking the Dolphins in this one. But I suppose, like, are we going to see this, this emerging, full kind of squad, new season Rabbitohs team. Like, they got a lot of players coming back from injury. That left side of theirs is ridiculous. Like, that has got to be one of the best left sides in the entire comp. You got AJ there screaming for the ball, being like, yes, put me in, coach. Feed me Trell. Feed me Cody Walker, because I'd like to break the record. I don't know if we're going to see it in this game. It'll be interesting. I reckon he's put him down for one at least. I think, what is it, 2, 3, however many, but I don't see him getting it all done in this game. And then as well, I think for a lot of fantasy, a lot of super coach people and just Rabbitohs fans in general, are we going to see a mythical David Fifita coming into this season? Has Wayne Bennett got into his ears with the sweet nothings just and absolutely revved him up like you won't believe? Is he going to be just super stoked to be playing with Big Trell Mitt and the rest of those boys on that left edge? Is he happy that Payne Haas is going to be coming next season? Like, is that going to be enough to get him going? Because if Wayne can't get him going, then it's like, I don't know. But yeah, very excited to see what the Rabbitohs are. If you look at them on paper, you are like, fuck, that is not a bad rugby league looking team of all time. Whether or not their injury curse is going to be striking them down or not, that's going to be another thing. Touch wood, nothing like that does happen. Cam Murray coming back in is like huge. You look at their forward pack, you're like, geez, that is a lot going on there. And then you got Jai run 5,000 kilometres at the back, Gray, which I think is huge for them as well. But Finn's 1-12, and I like old Cobbo there on the wing there at Suncorp Stadium at his old home. I reckon he's going to put on a bit of a show and he's going to get over for a nice little meat pie. That is pretty much it for this episode. Make sure you get around it for the rest of the season. Follow on all the socials. Appreciate all the support and catch you guys next week.